Fun and gore are two things that come to the minds of many with the Leprechaun franchise. Today's movie is a direct sequel to the original movie and does a pretty good job of carrying the torch. The movie opens up with Layla Jenkins, the daughter of one of the survivors from the original movie, arriving at Devil's Lake, North Dakota to help greenify an old house owned by her sorority at Larimore University. She gets off the bus and realizes that one of the sorority girls didn't arrive to pick her up, and another survivor from the original movie, Ozzy, shows up and offers Layla a ride, but she gets a little creeped out and declines. Then she calls a local taxi, and then she finds out that Ozzy himself is also a local taxi driver. And then she just goes with the flow and trusts him, and they go to the old house together. In the car, Layla notices a bunch of 4-leaf clovers. Layla tells Ozzy about her mother and mentions that she died. Ozzy reveals that he already knew about that, and when Layla asks him to tell her more about their past, he just changes the subject. The two arrive at their destination, and Ozzy's phone falls from his pocket as he gets out of the truck. Then he gets creeped out by the well in which he and Layla's mother captured the leprechaun. Ozzy leaves and Layla meets two students, Katie, an eco-friendly intelligent girl, and Rose, the self-appointed leader of the group who leads the house-fixing project. After a short chat, the girls tell Layla about the state of the house, revealing that it doesn't have electricity at all. They go in the house and the last girl, Meredith, a stoner and plant lover, arrives and brings over a group of dudes consisting of Andy, a dim-witted student attracted to Katie, and Matt, a self-proclaimed wannabe filmmaker. On his way back, Ozzy notices that he lost his phone, so he goes back to the well and looks for it, and as he was checking the well, suddenly a mix of water and green goo burst out. Ozzy accidentally swallows it, he quickly flees into his car and drives away, and in a bit he starts to feel something moving in his stomach. He gets out of the car and he starts running, and then a leprechaun gets out of his stomach like a xenomorph. He finishes off Ozzy, retrieves his hat, and heads to the house to find the missing gold. Sorry, I was trying to do like a leprechaun accent, but I just remembered that I suck! Anyways, that night the students hang out and Layla tells them about her mother, who was mentally ill and she claimed that she could see monsters and stuff. And then Meredith starts to make fun of Layla's dead mom. And a bit later, Layla goes to bed and she wakes up in the middle of the night and sees Ozzy dead. And then she wakes up again thinking that it was a dream, but the pool of blood on her forehead implies that it was reality. And then Layla decides to get up and start wandering around the house, and soon she finds out that the basement is flooded. As she goes down, we see that the leprechaun is there with her. And to her luck, Rose shows up and the leprechaun decides not to attack. And then the students start doing their daily duties to fix the house. And Layla goes to a barn to check the water barrel, Matt shows up, starts flirting with her, and as the two of them were preoccupied with their small talk, they fail to notice that the leprechaun is stalking them from the shadows. He tries to use his telekinetic powers on a pitchfork, probably to impale and kill them both, but he doesn't succeed. And then he starts to think out loud and reveals to us that he needs his gold to get his powers back. And as all of this was happening, a local postman arrives to deliver some mail, and he hears some sound coming from the post box, and suddenly, the leprechaun appears and pulls the postman's head into the post box. He gets out and takes the postman's truck, and while the postman was wandering around with the post box on his head, the leprechaun bumps him with the truck, and as he falls, he runs over his head. Later, as Layla was taking a shower, she doesn't notice the leprechaun stalking her in the bathroom. He flushes the toilet, causing the shower to go cold. Layla screams, obviously, and then Katie shows up and the leprechaun hides. And then Katie takes a picture of Layla for Snapchat, cause why not? And then later, as Layla goes to her room, the leprechaun finally reveals itself. And she thinks at first that it's just her imagination, but she soon realizes that it's real. And then he starts to talk about how he knew her mom and stuff, and then he tries to take her gold necklace, but it burns his hand. And as Layla gets up and picks up a book to smack him, the power goes out, and then Matt goes to check on Layla, and then the leprechaun pushes him to the ground as he was running away. And then Layla starts to tell Matt about everything, about the leprechauns and how they're all real and stuff. And naturally, of course, he doesn't believe her. And Meredith was down in the kitchen, drunk as a skunk, and when the leprechaun shows up, Meredith just casually takes pictures with him and starts to have a conversation. And then the leprechaun asks her where his gold is. Meredith replies that she doesn't know where the gold is, and soon they make an agreement to hand Layla to the Leprechaun. Then she runs out and shows the picture to Layla, Matt, and Rose, letting them know that they are in grave danger. And at the same time, Andy and Katie just finished with some love-making, and he goes to relieve himself in the bushes, and the Leprechaun appears out of nowhere. And then Andy immediately proceeds to take pictures with him. Yeah, pretty weird, but he does. And then the Leprechaun continues to attack him while demanding that he tells him where the gold is. Katie joins the rest of the students, and together they start investigating the house. Once they hear Andy's screams, they rush out of the house, and Andy fights with the Leprechaun. He throws a metal cage at him, but the Leprechaun dodges it with style, and then he uses his telekinetic powers to release a solar panel from the roof, and it splits Andy in half. The group quickly flees to Meredith's car, but they notice that Rose isn't with them, so they go back into the house to find her. However, the Leprechaun finds her first, and he spooks her a little, and then Rose impales him with a shoe heel, and she manages to escape. And then the Leprechaun gets annoyed because she made a mess of all the shoes, and because he's a leprechaun, he apparently cares about shoes. Soon, Matt and Katie find Rose, and Meredith tricks Layla by locking her in the basement and fulfilling the deal that she made with the Leprechaun. She and the others return to the car, where she tells them that the Leprechaun killed Layla, and Layla encounters Ghost Ozzy, who shows her this map to the location of the Leprechaun's gold. And on this map, Layla finds the note that Clover is toxic to the Leprechaun. Layla takes the map and then escapes through the window, and as the rest of the group was driving away, the Leprechaun shows up on a drone. Meredith suddenly sees Ozzy's truck, and she quickly steers the wheel in an attempt to avoid it, but she crashes her car anyways. And the group finds Ozzy's body, and then the Leprechaun arrives and uses Ozzy's eye to replace the one that he lost. And Meredith then reveals that she had an agreement with the Leprechaun and that she left Layla in the house on purpose. She runs away, but the Leprechaun follows her. Two of them arrive at the garden that is near the house. The Leprechaun slows Meredith down using the sprinklers and kills her by impaling her mouth with a sprinkler faucet. At the same time, Matt finds the drone and decides to stay back and use the drone to lure the Leprechaun away, while Katie and Rose go back to the house to find Layla. The Leprechaun soon sees the drone and starts following it. Matt loses control of the drone, and then the Leprechaun shows up controlling the drone, and he kills Matt with the drone. Rose and Katie run into Layla and follow the treasure map that the ghost Ozzy helped Layla discover. The three find a pickup truck that contains the gold. Rose admits that she used some of the gold to help finance her Greenify project, and then Katie notices Layla's gold necklace, which is fake and made of iron. Layla then explains that the necklace burned the Leprechaun's hand when it touched it, and then the group discovers that iron is also deadly to the Leprechaun. So it's Clover's, iron, and what else? Well, I guess it's just the two things. So, the girls go back to the house and they make a trap for the Leprechaun. He arrives and Layla gives him back his gold. However, he realizes her true intentions as he finds tampons amongst the coins, and Layla then traps the Leprechaun in a circle of iron objects. The Leprechaun tries to deceive her by using her mom's voice and stuff, but she realizes that it's fake. I mean, how could that ever work on somebody? Come on! Anyways, on her way to restore power to the house, Katie trips on Andy's dead body. She manages to keep calm even though she has a dead body in front of her. And then Rose creates clover juice and puts a hose in it. Layla stuffs the hose in the Leprechaun's mouth, and she fills him up with the sweet clover juice that causes him to explode. The girls then meet up, and Layla explains that they need to burn the Leprechaun's remains, or he'll be able to regenerate. Rose stays to clean the mess and pile up the Leprechaun's remains, while Layla and Katie go outside to find some wood. While Rose was cleaning up the house though, the Leprechaun divides himself into multiple small leprechauns, and then he attacks Rose, who manages to defeat most of the leprechauns, and then the leprechauns outsmart her and they impale her on a trophy. And then he's able to form again before Layla and Katie discover Rose's body. Katie and Layla come back to the house and find Rose dead. The Leprechaun fully regenerates in front of them and then attacks. The Leprechaun overpowers them and decides to kill Katie first. However, Layla manages to buy time for Katie by throwing a gold coin to the Leprechaun, giving her enough time to electrocute him. And then the Leprechaun and the whole house go up in flames. The girls are forced to escape through the basement. The Leprechaun kind of follows them even though he's on fire. He uses that creepy mother's voice again to try to trick Layla, but she just kicks him on the face and she runs away with Katie. The house explodes with the Leprechaun still in it, and then this green goo covers the girls, and then finally Layla sees happy Ozzy and waves him goodbye. Soon, the police arrive on the scene, they take them to safety, and after that, we cut to the Leprechaun, who's apparently still alive, and he hitches a ride on a chicken truck on his way to another location where the rest of his gold is. And that is how the movie ends. From this, I learned that it's very difficult to kill a leprechaun. Anyways, I hope you guys like my recap. Please leave a comment if you love leprechauns or hate them. Again, it doesn't matter, just leave a comment. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, support me, because I support you guys by doing these recaps. Come on! And I will see you on the next recap. Bye!